Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Unbelievable. SmackDown's just wrapping up at the Thunderdome, and I don't even have a watch on to tell me that, but I do know a brand new Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays is now.
Wrestling fans, we missed him in Tampa, but have no fear. Demolition Axe, the masked superstar, one half of the greatest tag team in WWE history, returns to MWF Studios in downtown Melrose, Massachusetts for two big nights. Saturday, May the 22nd, Sunday, May the 23rd. Axe will be taping historical episodes of Wrestling Insiders along with live shows featuring cyber autograph signings. Demolition Smash signed a limited number of photos when he was with us in Florida. Axe can add his signature to give you a beautiful collectible. Head on over to bostonwrestling.com to pre-order yours now and keep wrestling legends working.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
At Night of Champions 2020, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns successfully defended the WWE Universal Championship against his cousin, Jey Uso, in a must-see battle. Here is your chance to own a piece of Roman Reigns moments before battle on this beautiful limited edition autographed 11x14 poster direct from friends at WWE. It's number 19 of only 50 made. Includes WWE authentication hologram on the poster itself, suitable for framing and matting. You'll also receive a bonus Legends autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out on Wrestling Insiders as our thanks for helping keep Wrestling Legends working. Get this ultra-rare Roman Reigns autograph poster now. Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, Dan Marty here along with John Cena Sr. here at kind of a dimly lit MWF Studios, and it's a little dark.
Well, but you know what? It's going to be bright pretty soon at MWF. I know that.
Well, again, we're reminding folks to save the date, Saturday night, November the 13th at the historic Memorial Hall, Melrose, Massachusetts. It's going to be back to the 80s WrestleFest along with the 20th anniversary of MWF Professional Wrestling. It is going to be a happening, Johnny. I cannot believe that this 20-year-old face, the WWE, or 21-year-old face, I should say, that WWE said ta-ta to, that they didn't need nor want anymore back in the summer of 2000.
You must have done something.
No, it was WCW more than anything.
Oh.
When they were taking on so many, there was only so much room for bodies on the lifeboats of the Titanic. You know what I mean? It's not like I was full time, but anyway, I can't believe that this youngin' and my partner in crime, Mr. Manolian, who we went to high school together with, started this organization back in 2001, and it's 2021. It doesn't seem believable, Johnny, that it's been 2 decades. You were still in your 30s when we started this, by a smidge.
Right. Right.
Well, we're going to have fun November 13th, fans. We're going to have so many announcements. We're going to be blowing them out of the water soon. But fans are probably wondering, Johnny, what the hell are we doing on tonight at 7 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock?
Well, you know what? Spring turned into summer, fall turned into spring, and what happens when we go from fall back to spring ahead? Time changes. And the time changes for MWF Boston Wrestling. For our fans, for those that go to bed a little bit early, those that maybe are tired when they get back from work, we're there. We're there for you. 7 days a week, we're there.
Well, here's the fun thing, Johnny. We're going to call it the Summer of 7. We're going to experiment with, all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows. They premiere at 10 o'clock, or in the case of Oscar's podcast, 11 o'clock after Raw. Instead of doing it after what can sometimes be long wrestling shows, believe it or not, we're going to almost be the pregame show for you guys. We're going to start premiering the shows at 7 o'clock across the board. But in this case, Johnny, to try and get fans kind of in touch with what we're doing, for the next couple of weeks, you're going to get a double dose. You're going to get Johnny at 7 before SmackDown, and then after the lights go down at the Thunderdome, you're going to get him after SmackDown.
Double dose?
Well, that's what Marjo said she loved from you, was a double dose. But she loved you at 7 and 10. She said your vaccine never goes bad, baby.
There you go, kid.
All right. But Johnny, on a more serious note, shocking is really the only word I can use to describe it. You know me, I am a diehard Red Sox fan. I was thrilled to be back at Fenway Park for the first time in about a year and a half as the Red Sox defeated the Anaheim Angels last Friday night. And then my phone, I thought it was ringing. It buzzed for several minutes, non-stop consecutively. And I said, what the hell is going on? I ripped the phone out of my pocket, and you know what the text messages said.
A very sad message. A very sad message for the wrestling world that New Jack had passed away of a heart attack.
And not only sad news, Johnny, but eerie in a way, where just 6 days before he passed away, he was in that seat.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Not that I want to curse you like Ellen Damsky or anything like that, but I can't get over it, Johnny. If he seemed ill, if he seemed anything out of the ordinary, I'd say okay. But he was lively, he was fun, he was jovial, he was serious. You know how he is. When he wanted to shoot, boy, baby, did he shoot. But, and then after that, we had a great time with our friend Andy Wong up at Kowloon. Andy tweeted out, and I'm so glad we took the picture. Myself, New Jack, and Andy together right at the front. Andy wanted that for his collection. And the fact that 6 days after the fact the man died, it's mind-blowing to me. I mean, we all go at some point. But the fact that he was just with us 6 days before, sitting right there in the studio, we recorded 6 one-hour episodes on top of the Cyber Autograph signing. There was not any indication that there was anything wrong with him.
One never knows.
Right.
And that's why we as individuals, we as human beings, take so much for granted. We take so much for granted. We're going to be here forever. Oh, I'm upset about this. Oh, this hurts. That hurts. I can't do this. I can't do that. Live every single day you have to its fullest. Enjoy every single day you have. People kind of chuckle at me. They'll say it's raining out, but it's still a good day. The sun is still there. Maybe it's cloudy, but the sun is still there. Learn to love. Learn to love. Love one another. Be happy. Enjoy what you do. We all have down days, but you know what? It never gets that bad. Just keep moving. I've had days in my life where I was just ready to give up. Give up. Look, there's a fly that's killing me.
Maybe it's New Jack, reincarnated.
It very well could be, but
he's come back already.
Now I'm interrupted. I lost my train of thought.
Doesn't that suck when that happens? But, you know, we were going to have New Jack back June 12th and 13th. Poof. It's amazing, you know?
Life is so short.
It's like you said, even you find goodness even on a cloudy, rainy day.
You know what? Each one of us have troubles. Each one of us have burdens. You know, there's the old story about the guy that was carrying his cross. He said it was too heavy. So the word was, throw it in the pile and pick any one you want. He took one that was 3 times smaller than what he had. He went back to the pile and got his own cross back because the one he was carrying, which was smaller, was 5 times heavier. The burdens we have in life, and believe me, after my divorce, during my divorce, there was nobody more depressed or upset than myself. You know, so you have to find a way around it. My sons kept me going. What was around me, my sister, my God, bless my brother's soul, he kept me going. You have to find a way to succeed. Life is such a precious gift. And it's only times like this when, as Paul Heyman said, I think he hates eulogies. But as he said at the very end, this man was probably the most gangster of us all. He was the gangster. I had the opportunity to work a couple of indie shows with New Jack. A gentleman, a scholar, a great human being. I think his reputation as the gangster, as the man, preceded him, and people perceive what this individual is. Don't judge the book by its cover. All I say to people is, all the time, it's not the cover of the book, it's what's inside on the pages. And in New Jack's case, he was here, he loved what he did, he had a good time. Our good friend Andy Wong, I had a great time, but you know what? It's what's inside on the pages of the book. Apparently, nobody could see what was coming. Nobody knows what's in the next chapter. That's why we have to enjoy today, because today is all we have. And so New Jack did that. Every day of his life, he enjoyed it. He loved what he did. He loved who he was. He loved his wife and his family. He loved professional wrestling. He will be missed. We cry every time we lose a brother or a sister in this business. And I'm sure that the news reached us all about New Jack. I'm sure there were many tears shed. I'm sure there were people like me whose hearts just sunk. And once again, the doors open wide upstairs. And New Jack, I'm sure, is gangster up there amongst the crowd. We can't say a man is dead and gone. No. No person is ever forgotten. And the legacy that New Jack leaves, let us think of the memories and the legacy of the man. And that legacy of that man, his life, his style, and his love, that's what life is about. Celebrate the life and joy of the individual. I'm sorry I missed that interview. A favorite friend, a good man. We all should stop and say a prayer for New Jack, and mostly for his family that he leaves behind. 58?
58.
58 is a young age to leave this world. Maybe you have faith, maybe you have none, maybe you believe in nothing. But when the page of the book turns, it makes no difference how old you are. 1 day, 100 days, 100 years. It's your turn to leave. None of us know. That's why I look at this man and say, look at what he did, how he did it, and every day was a New Jack, new day.
It was an extreme day.
And a New Jack day. He loved what he did. As Paul Heyman said, he was the most gangster of us all. Salute you, Paul Heyman. That was a great tribute to a great man.
Well, Johnny, you know, I was in a conundrum. What do we do with the footage? I said, should we can it? Is there a way to display it? And I was shocked that I think with 100% feedback from people that I spoke to, every one of them said, New Jack came to do those interviews. He had fun doing those interviews. New Jack would punch you in the jaw if you didn't show those interviews. So, you know, you and I are going to do a little something a little later on for the videos, but you know what? respectfully is the way I want to do it. You know what I mean? Because I don't ever want to come across as exploitive. I don't ever want to be accused of being sleazy. But you know, these are great interviews. This is 6 hours worth of content about this man's career and his life. And I think, honestly, I think they're gems. Does he shoot? It's New Jack. Of course he shoots. But we go back in time to his early life. We go back in time to when he worked for Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler down in Memphis, and when he worked for Jim Cornette and Smoky Mountain. You know, things that he isn't always normally interviewed about. So to let that go to waste, I think, would be a real waste too. My thought process, Johnny, and where it is still hurtful, where it's so soon after he's gone, where it's such a sensitive thing to a lot of people. But again, universally, everybody does want to see the interviews. I think the best way to go is maybe release them weekly, first to our Patreon folk, where it's kind of a small circle, inner circle family, so to speak. And then after we release them weekly there, then we put them out to the general public weekly. And like I said, my idea is I have something I want to include before the episodes air that you and I are going to do that I think will be very nice. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it'll be very nice. I think it'll add a touch of class to it. I don't know. I don't know.
In addition to that, why don't you put together a 6-hour or a 3-disc set, a tribute to New Jack, and why don't we sell those, and 50%, 100% of all the sales, whatever you choose or the board of directors chooses, goes into a fund, the New Jack Fund.
Well, there is a GoFundMe that the family has set up. I want to get the link in the description box below on this video. Click that link, head on over and help out the young family. New Jack married a younger lady, and you know, he took on her kids as his own, and I believe the age ranges was 8 to 15 for the three of them. So, you know, it is. I wish I had the ability to do more. You know what I mean? We're not WWE sized as far as the great things we can do. But one thing I can always say, and I think, you know, despite the disagreements that you and I have had over the past 15 years at times, is that I think when it comes to these types of situations, our heart is always in the right place. You know what I mean? We want to help out the brotherhood. We love helping out the charities when we can. You know, but again, we're not WWE size. We're limited as far as what we can do. But in the end, it's up to you guys. So we're going to put the link to New Jack's GoFundMe in the description box below. Check it out. Whether you have $5, whether you have $5,000, it really is going to help the family out.
Anything will help.
I don't know if they take dollar donations.
They'll
to be
take
honest.
anything.
On GoFundMe?
I think they'll take anything.
Well, you know what? If you have $1, try and give it to them.
There you
How
go.
about that?
Take it.
So right now we're going to take a brief time out. We're going to come back and talk more about the king of sports professional wrestling as we continue to remember our friend New Jack. A shame. We had planned on turning the magic we created into a weekly series that would go on for who knows how long. But Jerome Young, rest in peace, my friend. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Arguably the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Get this limited edition collector's autograph print personally signed by two-time WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy Ric Flair, inscribed 16 times for each of his recognized World Championship reigns. One of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome Ric Flair collectible for your wrestling.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back. Johnny, maybe lost in the news a little bit along with the passing of New Jack was a man maybe not familiar to those up here in the Northeast all that well, but definitely down in the Carolinas, where I know you are an aficionado of with the old inside job. We lost Don Kernodle, a veteran superstar of the NWA, 71 years of age. Unfortunately, I don't know what was going on, what happened, but he killed himself. So another sad loss in the king of sports.
You know, suicide is a horrible thing. And I think the saddest part about people who take their own lives is they're always reaching out. And for some reason, we have the inability to see them reaching out. Or we blow it away. We brush it off. Oh, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. We need to pay attention to people who have these suicidal thoughts. We need to be able to listen. We need to be able to find them help. I don't know the full story. I'm not familiar with the talent. All I can say is that there are more and more suicides in this country. People are reaching a low of depression, depressed about the economy, depressed about their family lives, depressed about losing their girlfriends, their wives. I don't understand. But when people cry, we need to be the pillow. We need to accept their face on our shoulder, our hand on their back, and find them the help that they need. There never, ever should be a loss of life the way that happened.
Well, Johnny, you know, I'm not going to state the name, but I think you know the individual. They say, oh, you know, if they're going to kill themselves, they're going to kill themselves. They're not going to sit around crying talking about it. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I think sometimes, even if someone makes a veiled threat, I think it's something that should be taken very seriously.
It's a warning sign. A rattlesnake rattles. A rattlesnake rattles to say, look, you're too close. If you get any closer, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to bite you and you're going to die. Any individual who, and I'm no psychologist.
You're not
I like
David
to read,
Rees.
But I like to read. I'm no David Rees, but I like to read. And what I read tells me that there's always a signal. There's always a sign. You know, people will say, forget the mass shootings, forget these people shooting their girlfriends and children. There's still a signal there, but nobody pays attention. And when a person has reached the lowest life or the lowest point in their lives where they're contemplating ending their own life, there's always some kind of a message. I'm sure Dr. David Rees would agree on that. But why? Why, as individuals, do we not hear the message? And why do we not try to at least put it out? I guess it's because we all have this, doesn't affect me, I really don't care. And that's a poor way to go through life.
And you know, I think it's tough for someone to even make that statement, you know, where you come
Shame
across
on
as,
them.
look at society today, you know, not to try and shy away from wrestling too much, but you look at society today, you make a comment like that, you're looked at as weak in a lot of people's eyes, you know?
Well, let's look at professional wrestling. Look at the professional wrestlers that have committed suicide.
Yeah.
All right, you've got Chris Benoit. You've got who was the man that wore the green? We did a couple of shows with him.
The man that wore the green.
What was his name? See, I'm losing.
He worked shows with us?
Yeah.
Man in the green.
Not the Barbarian. Oh my God. See, okay.
You're
well,
not talking about the missing link.
Yeah.
No, he had cancer.
He had cancer?
He had cancer, yeah.
Okay, so.
But no, there's been a
we
lot
have
of
others out
suicide
there.
in this industry.
Yeah, look at the guys out there, or women, guys and women who just said, bang, I can't take the fact that you won't put me in the ring anymore.
I hope I'm not wrong, but I believe Ashley Mazzaro. Did she not kill herself, or did she overdose?
No, I thought it was an overdose
Oh,
suicide.
well, who knows? It could have been. It could have been either one. We weren't in the house when it happened.
You don't even know about China. God rest her soul. Another wonderful human being reaching out, and people made fun of her. They laughed at her pleas and her cries, and look at the end result. Dino Bravo?
He was killed by the mob.
Right.
So,
he was out there.
That wasn't
a form of suicide, you would say. But
he didn't
still,
have much choice.
Yeah, I think you need to stop and think about this.
No, it is sad, but you know, I think the one tidbit about Don Kernodle I wanted to throw out is, what's that game they call the Seven Shades of Kevin Bacon, where they try and relate things back? Don Kernodle, multi-time Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champion down in the Carolinas, when business was white hot down there. There was a tag team match, I think it was early 1983. It was Kernodle and Sergeant Slaughter against Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. Well, you're going to say, well, what does that mean? How does that translate to what is going on in 2021? Well, do you want me to tie it all together, Johnny?
Sure.
The business was so hot in that feud was so hot, they turned away so many thousands of fans at the door. Jim Crockett, Mid-Atlantic, NWA, decided to host the first Starrcade, which would be distributed on closed circuit.
Right.
Where on Thanksgiving night, if you couldn't get into the arena and buy a ticket, all over the South, there were different venues you could go to. We're almost like with a movie theater size screen.
WrestleMania.
You could go to the arena and you could watch Starrcade live, even if you weren't at the arena where the wrestling was taking place, which became the forerunner a year and a half later to March 31st, 1985, WrestleMania 1. Pay-per-view was almost non-existent in 1985. A very, very, very small percentage of homes in bigger cities had it, but it was a smidge. 99% of the people, if they wanted to see WrestleMania 1, you had to get up, get out of the house, go to the arena that usually hosted wrestling in your area or a theater, buy a ticket, sit down, and watch it on the big screen along with a bunch of other rabid fans. So that Don Kernodle, who we're talking about, just passed away. He and Sergeant Slaughter did such big business against Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, it turned into the creation of Starrcade, and Starrcade is what led to the creation of WrestleMania, which we know and love every March or April now. So isn't it amazing how sometimes things in this business connect to each other and how some of the people connect to each other? I don't think there were too many people when they heard of Don Kernodle killing himself and passing away really thought about how he was connected to the creation of WrestleMania, considering, I think maybe he did a few shots with WWF down south, but he certainly was never a full-time star or a superstar by any stretch of the imagination for WWF. But it's just kind of interesting how it all ties together sometimes. And you know me, I like to do my homework about these types of things, and because I want these people to be remembered for their contributions. I think anyone that gives their life full-time to this industry, they deserve to be remembered, and they deserve to have a tribute. And I know you probably weren't able to see Mid-South up here back in 1983. It wasn't on TBS or anything like that. It was more down in your old buddy Dylan Cage's neck of the woods. But the Mid-Atlantic territory, Johnny, for a small territory, you know that area of the... I'm not even going to get into how well you know that area of the country, but you're talking about Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. That was a promotion so hot, they were doing triple shots sometimes and doing really good business.
Well, you know, it is what it is.
Is that part of the reason why you wanted to go to the Carolinas so bad?
Well, we haven't solved that mystery yet, have we?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. There's someone that I hope has been... The real virus of life, Dylan Cage down there, hopefully is buried somewhere in the Carolinas. But that's
How's
a
he
different.
Doing?
You'd know better than me. Anyway, on to the other happenings in the world of professional wrestling, Johnny. What an odd segue, but WrestleMania Backlash, WWE. They wanted to take a penny and they wanted to stretch it so far. They wanted to turn the WrestleMania name into a copper wire, trying to see if they could get another pay-per-view value out of that WrestleMania name, taking the traditional Backlash, which we talked about before, that tremendous angle with Big Show and your son back in 2009, and some of the other great Backlash pay-per-views they've had before. But they called it WrestleMania Backlash this year, and
well, we get new women tag team champions out of it.
Well, that was on SmackDown.
I know I can always hit them. Bang. You know,
I mean, you talk about
Lashley retained.
You could call that nobody cares to nobody cares less. I mean, Tamina and Natalya. You talk about two pillars on the pole that no one gives a rat's ass about. I know you like Natalya. I like Natalya. I think Natalya is very solid in the ring. I think when the time comes she winds down her career, she should be a female agent to help put the ladies' matches together. I think she would be phenomenal at that with the wrestling mind she has. But as far as the in-ring presentation, I don't think anyone's given a rat's ass about Natalya or Tamina since maybe day one or day two. I think Tamina is on the Jimmy Snuka severance package plan where they really can't honor him because of everything that happened with his passing. Well, not his passing, but, you know, the situation with the late Nancy
and they chew me
Argentino.
out on Google
Well, I'm
News?
being honest. I'm being honest.
Woo!
Can you see any other reason why they would keep her around?
I have no idea.
Well, honestly, I mean, if you were Booker, would you have her under contract? She's in her 40s. She looked like up until recently she had on the 1997 Undertaker outfit from throat to foot. I mean, you know what? She's all right. I mean, you know, I guess you might say she's an attractive woman to some degree.
I think she's an attractive woman. I think.
But
Natalia,
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. The only reason she's there is because she's a snooker. And they don't even call her snooker because they don't want to be tied into the negativity that came with Jimmy. And you know me, I think the world of Jimmy. I love Jimmy. We hosted Jimmy Snooker Appreciation Night. But the fans are having more garbage shoved down their throat. I mean, how can a WWE official sit in a meeting and say, you know what? We really need Natalia and Tamina on TV twice a week on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, come on, just end it. They don't have any women tag teams. Why have tag team titles? Just so they can say they're PC? Nobody, Johnny, I'm going to say it, nobody gives a fuck. Jesus, I know I'm going to throw it out.
on live TV. Whoa!
Justin said I could say it once.
Once?
Just once.
Once.
Just like on his podcast, Justin with Justin. One F-bomb. But I had to get it in. I'm that frustrated.
Wow.
It was bad enough when Big Naya, who looks like a wrapped package of hot dogs at the supermarket when she comes out, and Shayna Baszler, who has shades of Herman Munster when she comes out. They were bad enough. But now it's Natalia and Tamina,
I need
who
a coffee.
nobody cares about. I mean, even at WrestleMania, of all the talent in that company, who was the only talent that wrestled 2 nights in a row? Natalia and Tamina. What? You know what? I'm not going to insult these ladies and say what I was just going to say, because you know me. I'm learning, Johnny. I'm still learning in life. I'm trying to learn the John Cena Sr. way about trying to be nice about certain things, and instead of saying some things, thinking some things.
There are good points in everyone and everything. We need to look at that. You can't.
They are veterans, but I just
Well,
Johnny,
anyway,
no one wants to
you see
it.
Bailey get beat with the hair? That was good.
That's right. Is she out? Is she out here now? No, Bianca's not. Where's Bianca? She's somewhere around this side.
She's right behind you, right over there. See right there?
You know what, Johnny? On a positive note about the women, I don't know if I mentioned this on one of the previous shows, but she's growing on me a little. Every time I see her, I think she's improving. I think she comes across as a very positive person. I know in real life, her and her husband, Montez Ford of the Street Profits, they are very religious people, spiritual people. Maybe that has something to do with it. But Bianca Belair, I'm going to say this, and you know I don't like a lot of the women's wrestling, but she's growing on me. I don't think she's particularly great. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch one of her matches, but if I'm watching it, I'm not ugh when I see her come out. And I think that as someone that really doesn't want to see it, is a good thing, you know? I've had more than enough of Bailey since about day one. I hate Bailey, the character, not the human being. I hate the character of Bailey. I hated her when she had those things that they have at the used car lots.
You notice I'm not saying anything. This is Dan's day to open his mouth and just spew forth to let the fans know how he really feels.
And when she turned heel, it was even worse, where she was, you know, supposed to be asshole Bailey, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's just
block him on
ineffective.
Block him on your Facebook.
Do you want to guess what? Seth Rollins unblocked us.
Oh, well, thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth.
I don't know if Seth is watching the shows or what, but we are now unblocked. I am very impressed by that.
I don't have Facebook, so
no, Twitter I'm talking about.
I have Twitter. I always get Seth's tweets.
Yeah.
I didn't get blocked. It must be you.
Well, he blocked us. So
no, he blocked you. I can't blame the man.
I think part of the reason the block came was on one of the programs where you shared your thoughts of the Monday Night Messiah. I believe is when it happened.
When we start that again,
Well,
and then we'll get shut off
Well,
again?
you know what? At least not him, but WWE is tweaking it a little bit. I still don't like it, but it's better than it was. It's better than it was.
Let him go back to being Seth Rollins. Forget the Messiah. He's not
You wanna know
Jesus.
you know what he should be doing? This is a guy, we saw the success he had as the Shield. We saw the success he had when they were doing the watered down version of the corporation, when he was with Triple H and
Yeah,
Stephanie
yeah.
and Kane and Big Show. I mean, this is a guy, he should be the proverbial 2021, as much as you can get away with it, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know what I mean? They made a big mistake by outing the relationship with him and Becky and their kids and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Still trying to use him as a heel. This is a guy that should be out getting laid every night. He should have a posse of women with him like you when you show up at the studio. I mean, and he should be a heel like that, not this boring, oh, come with me, we're going to change the world through my vision. Is there anyone that wants to see that presentation of him? I don't know anyone that does, Johnny. I know fans that I interact with, they love the wrestling, but hate the presentation.
That's why he's failing. That's why, you know what? If things don't change, he'll probably get one of those nice little letters or a plastic bag.
Crash bag.
That's it. Hey, good luck on your future endeavors.
All right, wrestling fans, I'm getting the cue in the back from the one, the only, the stunt double of Howard Stern in the movie Private Parts, 1997. Howard Miller. We're going to take a brief time out. We'll be back to wrap up the
Wrestling
show.
fans
Stand
around
by.
the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
MJ in the house.
Future WWE Hall of Famer, mind you. Let me tell you this.
I'm not in there yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But you will be.
Yeah, I will.
You know Sean wants to be the first three-timer.
Three-timer,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Let me tell you, you enjoy the in-studio shoot interviews 4 times a week. It isn't cheap to put these productions together, folks. We need your
No,
help.
because he got to pay me.
Coronavirus has killed the nightlife in a lot of ways. We are night owls, Marty and I, but that's a different story for a different time. One way you can help is to check out the great merchandise we have in the Boston Wrestling eBay store. It is perfect for any wrestling man cave or any collection.
That's right. Check it out.
Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. At Survivor Series, it was champion versus champion as WWE champion Drew McIntyre battled Universal champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. Get this 11x14 poster autographed by all 3 men. Limited edition, number 42 of only 50, with authentication hologram on the back of the poster itself. Comes with a mystery autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now.
All right, Johnny, we've talked New Jack, we've talked Don Kernodle, we've had an F-bomb. I mean, it's been a wild Friday night, and SmackDown hasn't even started yet.
Wow.
Because remember, it's going to be the Summer of 7. All of our great shows that premiere at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, in Oscar's case after Raw, forget about being with us. You can always watch after the Raw or Dynamite or NXT or SmackDown if you want to. But beginning Memorial Day week, baby, it's the Summer of 7. We're starting at 7 o'clock. Every night we're going to be the pregame show. We're going to have historical episodes. We're going to talk current events. We're going to have John Cena Sr. We're going to have the non-stop party with Marty Jannetty. We're going to have a special edition where we have rotating guests. We have JTG that's going to be with us this summer. Dutch Mantel, Zeb Coulter is going to be with us this summer.
Can't wait for
Your
Dutch.
longtime close personal friend, the Hall of Famer Jerry Briscoe,
love
is
that
going to
man.
be with us multiple times this summer. You're talking about we're going to be having classics with, I still haven't spoken to the man, and we got to figure out some money. Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, Oscar. I mean, the list continues to grow and grow and grow, much like you were growing in certain parts of the body on Temptation Island.
Okay.
All right, Johnny, the Backlash we always get a backlash, but WrestleMania Backlash, the pay-per-view, wanted to go through a few more notes before we wrapped up the show. Bobby Lashley, I was very happy, retained the championship
Keep
over...
that up, boy. Keep that up. I said it before. Hey, WWE's listening to me. You got to stay with it. Just like Roman Reigns, don't let him lose now. They're on a roll. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Just
that's
had to say
fine.
it. Just had to say it.
Anything can happen in a triple threat match. There was a part of me, and you know, isn't it kind of funny that there's a part of me that's actually really interested in something that's going on? I could have seen them doing a cheap title change in a triple threat match like that,
Yep.
where Bobby didn't even have to take the pin to lose it. But again, I think the money is Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, April 2022, 100,000 fans, AT&T Stadium in Dallas.
No.
No, you don't.
No.
What would your main event be for
No,
Mania next year?
I don't see that. I disagree with that.
Well, you know what? I want to. What would your main event, as of right now, with what they're working with, what would your main event in Dallas be next year?
I'd have to think about that.
Yeah.
I really would.
I'm putting you on the spot.
You are.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about that, really, really think about it, because whatever that main event is, it's got to be something, one, that has never been done, and two, it's got to be individuals who perhaps you would never expected to see. That's what's got to happen, because everything so far is so predictable. You know the next move before it happens. And Lashley and Lesnar, you know, two MMA guys, the question becomes, who's going to go over? Who's going to do the job? I'm not sure the crowd would really pay for that. I think whatever the storyline is, it's got to be bigger than anything. The prize has got to be the biggest prize they've ever offered. And put those two men or women in that ring. Oh, you can say what you want. You know what? Sometimes I wonder about Dan. But anyway, you do that, and I think you're going to have a successful WrestleMania. Do something different. Do something the fans never
I
expected.
think the fans have been clamoring for Lashley and Lesnar for a long time. If you could present it, when would you present it, other than WrestleMania?
I probably wouldn't waste my time.
With Lashley and Lesnar?
Nah,
Why?
nah,
It's a match people want.
I don't know. I haven't seen the votes.
If you,
Who said they want?
You know what? Maybe, again, I put you on the
It's
spot.
your own mind
and I
that's
didn't give
saying
you a
that.
lot of time to think about it. But you know what? Maybe for one of the next episodes, take a look at the Raw roster or the WWE roster in general.
Oh, I look at
if
that all the
Lashley
time.
is still the champion at that point,
He
per
won't
se.
be. He won't be.
Let's just say he is. Who would you have? Or, you know what? Two questions. If Lashley's still the champion, who would you have him work? If it's not Lashley, what would your main event WrestleMania with? And of course, there's always the special attractions that may come in. The fruit of your loins may come in for WrestleMania if he's able to next year, for all we know. But I think on the SmackDown side, who would you have the tribal chief defend the championship again? I'm hoping he'll still be the title holder at that point.
I think by that.
Wait a minute.
Going
Percy,
on,
are you
there
ribbing
go.
us?
He fixed it. I think that the tribal chief by that time will be a tweener or a face.
You know who I think he may oppose in Dallas?
And who might that
And
be?
perhaps his retirement match?
Who's that? Kofi Kingston?
Two down.
Two down from Kofi Kingston?
The other direction.
Goldberg?
His contract runs out in 2022.
Oh, you know,
His contract runs out in 2022.
I say a lot of things about Bill Goldberg, and I'm sure Mr. Goldberg knows. Like him, I come right from the hip. I have the utmost respect for that man. I do, and I would never, ever want to meet that guy in a bar fight. I'm serious. They've not used him the right way. Unfortunate. But he made a comment on his interview. He said, I just go in, do my job, and get out. That's pretty evident. That would be a disservice to Bill Goldberg and a disservice to the tribal chief. You know what? I'm going to say it again.
You're gonna shoot.
I'm going to say it again.
You're gonna shoot.
In order for WrestleMania to be WrestleMania, it has to be that surprise you had with 1 and 2. It's got to be bigger and better than anything, as Chris Jericho would say, anything that's ever been done before. So whatever your title matches are, whatever your surprise matches are, it's got to be the biggest and best, because you've got to make up for the pandemic. You've got to make up for the loss of fans. You've got to bring back the world of professional wrestling. That's all I'm going to say. Who I'd put in that ring, what kind of match I'd come up with, Let me give that some thought. You know,
I kind of like those two matches if I was booking.
well, but that's
Lashley, I'll ask you fans, if you were putting together the WrestleMania lineup in 2022 right now, what do you think of Lashley and Lesnar and Roman and Goldberg for your two title matches? I don't know what the fans think. They might think it sucks. They might think it's great. Maybe Vince will like it. Maybe they'll finally take me back after all these years.
I think I threw up a little bit in my mouth,
All right,
folks.
well.
I just want you to know, I'm not going, they haven't called me. Why would they call him?
Speaking of throwing up in the mouth,
Oh.
we had Judas Priest take on The Miz in a lumberjack match at WrestleMania Backlash. The lumberjacks for the match actually turned into zombies.
Yeah, and Judas Priest won.
And I'll say this, you know what? For all the knocks WWE gets, I think they've done a good job protecting him thus far.
Judas Priest?
Yes. They've
would
kept
agree.
him, they haven't had him job out.
Nope.
They haven't made, other than this match was ludicrous, they haven't had him look ludicrous, if that makes any sense.
No, I agree. I understand what you're saying.
Why? I know there was a movie tie-in with Big Dave Bautista, and I'm sure they got a handsome payday from Netflix or wherever that movie with the zombies is going to be airing. But, Johnny, I mean, it's like, you know what? We're trying to get more fans to watch. Why present something like that no one wants to see?
I just get through saying.
Where the average wrestling fan that watches a Raw, at least, is in their mid-50s, is that going to appeal? I know that's right around your age. Is that appealing to you, watching zombies as lumberjacks?
The Walking Dead, is off the air. They retired the program.
It's not over yet.
No,
One more season.
Yeah, that's it. But it's going to be
Oh,
gone.
oh, yeah,
It's going to be gone.
Are you a Walking Dead fan?
No.
Oh, okay. I love that show.
I used to date Walking Dead, but
She looks at
all over. Yeah. Anyway, my whole thing is that match was a good match with two pros in there doing their thing. The
Yeah,
zombie,
I think Miz is a good foil for
Oh, he's a
Priest.
great guy. I love
where
Miz
he
is-
is. No, I just mean where Priest is right now on the totem pole.
yeah.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Miz is almost the perfect opponent for him.
Yep, I agree.
But just, Johnny, what
zombies. What'd you think of that?
I couldn't believe
The
my eyes.
transformation.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
Oh, well, somebody, again, I'm only going to say this. I said it before. I get in trouble all the time. Somebody thinks it's funny. Somebody thinks it's going to go over. Whoever does the writing, I hate to say it, whoever approves the writing, gets go, ha, 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 that's going to work. And you know what? That's exactly the kind of stuff that has taken the word professional wrestling and turned it into professional joking wrestling. Fans aren't interested in that. Undertaker, different story. Kane, different story. If you want to recreate The Fiend and make him the new Undertaker, great. Maybe there's a place for zombies in the funhouse or whatever, but not what they just did. They ruined it. They ruined it. It was horrible.
They ruined the whole show.
Horrible.
They ruined the whole show.
I would agree with you.
It was one of the worst moments I've ever seen in WWE history.
But you two guys, AG and who else?
There were a lot of NXT recruits
Well,
that
there
were
you
down
go.
there.
See
But I
that?
mean, they didn't want to take main roster guys and make them look like idiots. So why not take guys that haven't been that exposed? But
That's
just
crazy.
Just sad. You know what I mean, Johnny? It's just,
Well-
as someone that even owns stock in the company, it's just sad.
Well, stop and
no
think
one
about
wants
this.
to see it.
No, they don't. And one time, just for giggles, I said what I'm going to do is I'm going to time how much time is spent on promos and how much time is spent on actual wrestling.
Did you do it, or are you
did.
going to do it?
I did it.
And what was it?
When you look at a 2-hour show, you probably have 45 minutes of wrestling, and the rest is all stick work.
SmackDown you're talking about?
Yeah, it's why?
Raw is the one we really should do that for.
But
You know what?
why?
Maybe I'll make that my homework assignment.
Why don't you try it
yeah,
and see?
Yeah.
Because, we need those promos. We need to create the storyline. But you remember when they had the promos and people busted into the storylines, and there were battles, and Mean Gene was taken back? Man, oh man, you couldn't wait. Now, I tell you, it's a dud. It's a dud. It's just not working anymore. And the fans are demanding more and getting less.
So I'm talking to someone in their 50s that thought it sucked. You know me, I hit the big 4-0, I thought it sucked. 15-year-old junior ambassador, Mr. Devon Brent. What do you think of it? I thought it sucked. If there isn't a demographic they can find that enjoyed it, why put it out there?
Because people...
Why don't they think that way in those meetings? I mean, I understand, was there a financial tie-in? Sure. Could they have done maybe, not that it would have been any good, but maybe almost like a dream sequence where The Miz woke up from a dream where he was being eaten by zombies. Anything other than actually present it as an actual wrestling match. Remember they did that with Vince once? He woke up from a bad dream and he was in bed with Linda, which...
Yes.
Probably on par, but...
No wonder you get fired. No wonder.
Hey, Dan, you're fired!
Believe me, it was not that far up the food chain when it happened, but... I mean, honest to God, what are they...
It makes no
sense. Are they
sense.
high? Are they drunk?
Well, it makes no sense. But when you have a person getting devoured by zombies...
I mean, just look at how ridiculous it is even saying it. And this is what they're putting on TV.
So now how does Miz come back?
I think he got injured during the match, so I guess it was perfect timing. I mean, Miz got eaten more than it was almost like when Marjo gets her chops on you.
Wow.
Oh, wrestling fans, we have enough power to say it. Enough is enough.
Yep.
Enough is enough.
Yep.
All right, wrestling fans, again, don't forget the Summer of 7 Memorial Day week. All of our shows start at 7 o'clock across the board. Up until Memorial Day week, you're going to get a couple of bonus episodes with this guy just to try and get you in the routine of 7 o'clock. But don't forget, tonight, not only do you have this episode before SmackDown, but at 10 o'clock, when the lights in the Thunderdome go down, and that dynamic now that I think is great that we didn't get a chance to talk about with both Usos and Roman Reigns and everything they have going on continues, we're going to have another episode of John Cena Sr.'s Fabulous Fridays. 2 for the price of 1, just how he likes his women. For John Cena Sr., who for some reason has Bad Bunny on his shirt, I'm Dan Morales. Why do you have Bad Bunny on your shirt?
It came with the shirt. Moniz bought me the shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I know, I bet Moniz does a little hopping when she's over the Cena Estates.
Maybe it's me. Maybe,
Maybe you do the hopping.
I eat like a lot of salad.
All right.
Gonna eat like one, might always act like one, right?
All right, wrestling fans, a tribute to Jerome Young, tie-ins to Don Kernodle and WrestleMania, zombies, I mean... Where else put this show?
Wow.
For John Cena Sr., again, I'm Dan Marty. We'll see you at 10 o'clock. You and yours, be well, enjoy SmackDown.
The World Wrestling Federation was live with the WrestleMania Revenge Tour at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan, Saturday, May the 21st, 1994. In the opening contest, Quang beat Sparky Plug. WWF Tag Team Champions, the Head Shrinkers, and Afa with the win over the Quebecers and Johnny Polo. WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blaze retained the title over Luna Vachon. Lex Luger defeated Crush. Jeff Jarrett victorious over Doink the Clown. Razor Ramon battled WWF Intercontinental Champion Diesel to a double countout. Mabel beat Bam Bam Bigelow. And in the main event, WWF World Champion Bret Hitman Hart retained the title over Owen Hart. If you were in Auburn Hills Live, share your memories in the comments section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join Rotating Legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll Journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view, watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.